Hey guys, it's Tara Richter, president of Richter Publishing, and I am back talking about information on how to write, edit, publish, and market your book. Today we are answering another question from a viewer about how to get your books into the bookstores. Now, this is a multifaceted answer because it depends upon how you actually first published your book. Now, if you self-published, some bookstores like Barnes and Noble, they do not like that you self-publish your book. They really do like to work with traditional publishers. However, there are some ways that I will tell you how you can work around that and try to get your book into Barnes and Noble and into some of the other bookstores. However, the first thing that we have to go over is some terminology. So let me tell you some of the things obviously that you have to have on your book before you try to get them into the bookstores. Now, hopefully, if you already have a book published, well, you wouldn't be able to publish without this, but every book has the ISBN on the back of it. So this is the ISBN number, which is the International Standard Book Number. This is kind of like the social security for your book. Okay, every book has to have this before you can even print and proof. So even if you did self-publish, depending upon what venue you went through, you would have had to have purchased an ISBN number. Okay, now some of the channels like Amazon will actually let you use their ISBN, so then it's either free or you pay a little bit less for it. However, then Amazon owns that ISBN. Okay, so that's one very important aspect, because when you self-publish and when you publish through Amazon and you use their ISBN, then the book is non-returnable. And if your ISBN says non-returnable on it, then the bookstores are not going to stock it, because if a person buys it, they can't return it. Also, it's because if the bookstores stock your book but nobody comes to buy it in 90 days, then they're going to return it to you, or they're going to return it to the original publisher. So in order to get into the bookstores, the very important thing is the ISBN, okay? So if you self-published and you used an ISBN, or like CreateSpace when that was still around, you could use a CreateSpace ISBN that was only $10. All right. Now, obviously, that's a great deal, and you're like, wow, I'm trying to save money. Let's do that. Well, that literally just shot yourself in the foot. With that CreateSpace ISBN number, you cannot get into the bookstores unless you know the person, the owner of the store, and they do a special deal with you. You're not going to be able to get into Barnes and Noble. That's for sure. So you would have to go back and republish and actually buy an ISBN. It's through the Bowker's International company. That's the only place that I know of that you can go and get ISBNs. They have all the ISBNs. And then it's fairly expensive. It used to be like $100 per ISBN, or maybe now it's up to like $150. So it's not cheap. If you're buying one, we buy them in bulk. So, we get 100 ISBNs at once because we're publishing constantly. So you get a better deal if you buy them in bulk. However, if you only have one book, then it's better off just to, cough up the $150. But when you do it through Boker and you buy the ISBN, then you control that. Okay, you also control if you allow returnables. So when you buy that ISBN and you're in the system, you fill out all the information, the pricing, and if the books are returnable. Okay. However, if you still use that ISBN and you go through Amazon channels to publish, Amazon, even if you have it returnable through the Boker and then you go through Amazon, it's still not going to let you return it. Okay. I know it gets like a little confusing. So you have to go through a different channel. You would have to go through, say, Ingram, which is Ingram has been around for, I don't know, probably like 100 years. So Ingram is a more traditional channel, and there you can actually have the books returnable, and you can use that ISBN that says returnable. And then they'll actually ask you, is it returnable in intact or damaged? Because unfortunately, some bookstores would like rip off the cover of the books and send them back, and you still have to like buy those back, and then the books are damaged and you can't resell them. So it's kind of a messy game. but just trying to keep it simple here for you. So the first important thing is how you publish, who you publish through, and buying that ISBN and having control of it so the books are returnable. Okay, that's the first step. Now, let's see, you have that all done, you have it published, you have your ISBN, it's returnable. Okay, now you want to get into the bookstores. Barnes & Noble is a little difficult to get in, and it's just because, book space, shelf space is limited. There's millions of books out there. So they're going to save their shelf space for, Rachel Ray's new cookbook. If someone on the Shark Tank comes out with a new book, it's all about the people that have the following, the people that are going to come into that bookstore and get that book. Okay, so do you have a following? Do you have a TV show? Do you have a cooking show? Are people just going to waltz into Barnes & Noble and ask for a book by you? Chances are probably highly likely no. Because if you're watching this video, you're probably not with a traditional publisher. You're not the Rachel Rays of the world. You're not, the famous people out there. They're going to be going through a traditional publisher. So I hate to say it, but this is a little moment of ego smashing that is anybody going to come to Barnes & Noble and actually ask for your book? I actually did have somebody go once, and I was just flattered. I'm like, wow, you actually went in and asked for my book. So, unfortunately, that's who they're going to save their shelf space for. However, a different way that you can approach it, once again, kind of like what I talked about in the library series, is walking into your local Barnes & Noble and asking for the community manager and saying that, hey, I'm a local author and I would like to get my book into the bookstore and I would like to do a book signing. That is going to be a much better approach because they do want to work with local authors. They do want to have events. Once again, what's in it for them, not what's in it for you. Are you going to draw a crowd? If you do a book signing, are people going to show up? So that's the better way of doing it. Now, when you do that, just make sure, you have all your stuff available first. Have that ISBN actually written out for them. Walk in with the book, with the ISBN so they can see the book. Because, make their job easier so they don't have to go and look it up. Also, like, our books are on distribution channels all over the world, and we have multiple ISBNs. So if one of our authors just says, hey, yeah, look up my book, a lot of times they'll pull up the wrong ISBN. So we have some that are returnable and some that are non-returnable. So just make it easy for them. Walk in with all the information. Even have ideas of, what you want to do or how you're going to promote it. Because if they do decide to stock your book and if they do decide to do a book signing, most of the time they don't promote it. I don't know why, they just don't. So it's not up to them to market and pull people in. It is up to you. So if you do get a book signing at Barnes & Noble, you are the one that's going to have to market it. You are the one that's going to have to push it. You're going to have to, set up a Facebook event, invite all your friends, do an email blast. Also, once again, it's good to have an entourage with you. So if you do a book signing alone, a lot of times Barnes & Noble will put the authors in the back of the room. Nobody even knows there's a book signing going on. So I've gone to events where, they had a friend or somebody standing up front as everyone's walking to the door, handing them a flyer. Hey, we have a local book signing going on in the back. Come and check us out. Get people to help you. This is, selling books, marketing, it's not easy. You need a team. You need a team of people to help you do all this. So once you get that set up and you're there and you're selling the books, basically what will happen is Barnes & Noble will usually buy like 10 books. They'll buy 10 books for the book signing, okay? So they come, they talk to you, you autograph it, chit chat, la la la, whatever. Then the customer goes up front and they buy the book through Barnes & Noble. Then you get a royalty on the back end. So then the reports come in, you will actually be getting a royalty from that book that someone has bought. Now, if you don't sell all the books, say you sell 5, then the other 5 that are left over, then they'll stock those on the shelf. So that's one roundabout way to get into the bookstore is do the book signings. Anything that's left over, they will stock on the shelves. However, keep this in mind, because this is a big however, if no one comes to buy your book in 90 days, they will send them back. Then, not only do they send them back to the, distribution channel, they take the money, which is higher than a wholesale cost, plus $2 handling fee per book. So books that get returned a lot, it's not even just like, say, $6. If your book was $6, this is going to come back and it's going to ding you $8 because that's $2 handling fee per book. And when you start doing a lot of book signings and you start getting a slew of books being returned, I have a whole box of returns from authors doing book signings, then that just comes out of your account if you self-publish, or it's coming out of the publisher account like me. So this was a lesson we learned the hard way when we were getting into the bookstores, and I was leaving to go to Asia for 4 months to volunteer nonprofits, and I got a huge slew of books, and $2,000 just swiped out of my account. So getting in the bookstores is not all it's cracked up to be. I will be honest with you, okay? And that's the cold hard truth. Is why are people so obsessed with getting into the bookstores? 90% of our sales are online. It's through Amazon. It's through Barnes & Noble online. All of our books are in Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Kindle, Nook, iTunes, ACX, everywhere books are sold. But people don't walk into Barnes & Noble to buy the book. They'll buy it online, okay? So what this does is it gives you the presence of a big box without spending the money and going through all of this hassle of having the books, having them shipped back, having the money taken out, If someone walks into Barnes & Noble right now, walk in any Barnes & Noble and ask for books by Tara Richter, the assistant, the person working at Barnes & Noble will type it into their system, and they will say, oh yes, we do have all the books by Tara Richter. Which one are you looking for? Are you looking for her writing series? Or are you looking for her dating jungle series? And you'll say, I want the book on how to write a book in 4 weeks. And they're like, oh, fantastic. But we don't have it in the store right now, but we can ship it to your house, or we can ship it to the store and you can come and pick it up. Okay, so you can still be in their catalog online and not be physically in the bookstore, because that costs so much money, okay? So everybody buys books online. Nobody really goes to the bookstores anymore. And fun fact, Barnes & Noble, they are closing 200 stores every year for the next 10 years. Look at all the other bookstores. Books A Million, they're gone. What was the other big one? I mean, it's sad, but they're just gone. This is the way of the future. Brick and mortar is going away. Look at the malls. There's no stores in the malls anymore. The mall by us, they're going to put in a huge arcade system. All of the stores are going away from the brick and mortar because people are buying online. It is so much easier, and it is so much better when you look at the business side of it, because you do not have a huge overhead. Just imagine those massive bookstores and how many employees they have to pay, the lights, the electricity, and then stocking those books and then shipping the books out. I mean, I'm a small indie publisher and we just have boxes of freaking books sitting around. Imagine how many books that they're shipping out and how much labor that is, and postage and boxes and, and just inventory. And it gives me a headache. So, I understand people want to be in a bookstore. However, honestly, people buy their books online. Do something creative, have a really fun book launch party, and then sell the books, person to person, so they can actually get to meet you. And I'll be honest, smaller bookstores are not any easier. If anything, they're more difficult to get into. I thought when I had my first Dating Jungle series that I would be able to get into all the small local bookstores in the Tampa Bay area. I literally took my books, I went to almost every single one, and I could not believe the rudeness of the owners of the bookstores, that they could give a crap less about me. I literally had owners mid-conversation of me talking to them, turning around, talking to the back of their head, and walking away from me. They don't care. And I think, well, maybe it's not that they don't care. I think it's that they get inundated, with every Tom, Dick, and Harry that's published a book. Especially with self-publishing, out there, a lot of the traditional, that's why I don't like self-publishing, because it's just, anybody can publish. You know, do they hire an editor? Is it clean? Is it how many typos are in it? Is the story even any good? So unfortunately, you know, the industry's gotten a little diluted with the quality of the work, because people that are self-publishing don't want to spend that money on getting a professional editor. They're not, you know, testing the storyline out. You know, is this actually a good story? And then, you know, they're not spending the money on the proper ISBN. So I think they're just inundated by people, and, you know, they just don't have the time or the patience for it. So I've almost thought about starting up my own bookstore with our authors. But then again, I don't know if I really want to get into that either, because I don't really want to have a retail store. I like being able to work anywhere in the world because we have Wi-Fi. But that's basically, you know, the wave of the future. So I do still like physical books. I like touching them and flipping through them. And, you know, I'm not a Kindle person. So most of our sales are actually physical paperback books like this. However, it's them being ordered online, and that's what makes it way more economical. You know, with print on demand, the files are literally stored in a cloud. We don't have a warehouse of thousands of books that people order and buy and ship from. It's all online, it's all in the cloud. And when someone goes to Amazon or Barnes & Noble online and orders the book, the printer close by literally downloads your files, prints one copy, and ships it out to the customer. I mean, that's just a beautiful thing. Like, we're saving paper, you know? This is things that we need to think about with the environment and everything going on, and, you know, the craziness of us ruining our planet. But, I mean, look at this shelf. This is all of the books that we published. I have one shelf, and it's not even full, because we don't keep copies of the books around. We keep 2 or 3, but it's all print on demand, you know? So, like, why waste that paper if you don't need it? Or if you do find a typo, you can go and change it, and really quickly. You know, this isn't the day and age of printing 20,000 books and storing them in a warehouse. It doesn't make sense, you know? And so that's why, honestly, to me, I don't think it makes sense, you know, to have them in the bookstore either. But, you know, if you really, really want to, do the book signing thing, you know, do the local author book signing, have some in, see if anybody comes and buys, and test it out that way. But definitely, you know, get your stuff set up first, the ISBN, and things like that. So I hope this helped answer your question about bookstores. If you guys have, you know, any other questions that you would like me to answer or speak about, let me know. Send it in or type it in the comments below. Definitely like and subscribe to our YouTube, as I will be releasing these videos. Trying to do it every week, as the industry, the publishing industry, is a black hole of information, and I'm really trying to help everyone understand more how things work, so you can make an educated decision, you know, about what route you want to go to get your book published. And of course, if you need help, go to our website, richterpublishing.com. We have free resources on the resources tab, or you can contact us. We have a form where you can fill it out. Let us get to know more about you and the type of book that you're wanting to write and publish, and we'll get back to you. Thanks. See you guys later.